So sometimes this stuff that we talk about even before we start the podcast, it made it because I was being accused of whose idea was it to do it on a Sunday morning?
Sunday morning. It's Sunday morning?
It's Sunday morning.
What am I doing up?
Are you even supposed to be here today?
I am not supposed to be here today. Trust me. Just ask my family. They'll let you know.
There you go.
Yeah. By the way, I do have a serious question for you.
Sure.
With everything that goes on here,
right?
What the hell am I doing here?
What are you doing?
Who
here?
am I?
No. Allow me to properly introduce. By the way, this is the A Game with Rob Acampora. I am merely your host, and this is a special day for me. I didn't even realize it until Facebook brought that up, but we'll talk about that in a second. All right. So the gentleman with me in the studio, he has done some voiceover work that ranges from the Pokémon movies to a series that is on Amazon Prime that we're going to get into during our halftime segment. Bob Senkewicz is here, a.k.a. the Bobbus, all-knowing, all-telling, and not afraid to show it, which is a good thing.
Not afraid to be wrong either.
That's good, too. Now, remotely, coming in from his bunker in Pennsylvania, the star of Clerks, Clerks 2, and more than likely Clerks 3, fingers crossed on that, Brian O'Halloran is here. How are you,
baby? I'm supposed to be here today.
That's right. I'm not even supposed to. Who books at 11 a.m. on a Sunday show about the Golden Globes, an award show that's not happening till next week? Yeah. Hey, this just in. Next week's folks, tune in. We're going to be talking about Halloween. What the hell?
I walked right into that rant.
Yeah, you did.
I did. And by the way, his podcast known as the O'Hallow Rant. You just got a little sampling of what he would be doing on his podcast even before he had his guest on. So I appreciate that. I feel good about having that.
Well, hey, thank you, Rob, for having me here. I appreciate you guys, Mr. Nostrababus, of course.
Absolutely.
I miss me and Bob going to Ranger games in person. So any virtual get-together is always a great one.
Did you see that Madison Square Garden is now going to start allowing people in, and there is a possibility to get tickets? So, we can keep an eye on that.
Hey.
We'll see. I think first opening it up to their season ticket holders, which we used to be, but we'll see what happens,
Yep.
Remember, I have not done a Ranger game, so
no, you haven't.
I got to be roped into one.
You're going to get roped into it.
I got to see this.
Yes, absolutely.
I got to see this. I mean, bad enough my one hockey experience, I can't believe I'm saying it, was a Flyers game. Yeah. Okay.
That's okay.
All right. But at least I went to one. There we go. Yes, we are going to talk the Golden Globes 1 week before the Golden Globes, but as it turns out, I am a genius and an idiot at the same time. Before we even start
that goes without saying.
Right. As Brian said, doing this 1 week before the Golden Globes, today happens to be the 1 year anniversary of this podcast. 1 year ago today, I started this dang thing. My first guest happens to be the guy who's in charge on the board here, Ming Chen. Thank you very much for being Ming. And Ming got to talk about Comic Book Men. And Brian, God bless you for showing up on that first podcast. I appreciated that very, very much. And 1 year later, here we go. And this is no lie. This is episode 37 of the A Game. I am not kidding. The odds of that happening are slim and zero, but it's true.
37. My girlfriend sucked 37 dicks. In a row?
There you go. Thank you for that, Brian. So there is a karma and a synergy about this that it happens to all work out today. And with that, we'll get right into it.
With that, well, you're in charge.
I'm in charge of this, so let's go. I'm talking Golden Globes.
And I know your anniversary, I would have brought you some lasagna or some shit.
Oh,
well, but it's lunchtime, so we wouldn't be able to eat it till later. So,
and Brian will vouch for this. My mother's lasagna rocks. So, I mean, exactly.
Yes.
You know what? We got to make sure that happens at some point. Since we are talking Golden Globes, Ming, get me photo number 8. We're going to start with The Crown. This has been the talked about series because it leads all the nominees in the Golden Globes in the TV section with 6 nominations, ahead of Schitt's Creek, who's got 5, the Ozarks and The Undoing have 4. Now, The Crown has the chance to be the first show to sweep the entire drama category of the Golden Globes since Homeland. So, in the first quarter of our round table, which TV series do you think will be the big winner on the Golden Globes next week? Bob, we'll start with you.
I don't think you're going to get a big winner.
Okay.
I think it's going to get filtered around because the shows that you're talking about right there, between The Crown, Ozark, Schitt's Creek, it's going to get divvied up. I think Schitt's Creek is an emotional favorite for a lot of people.
Right.
I think Crown is a show. I've seen the entire series. It's a brilliant show. I love the show. I've also seen all of Ozark. I love that show. And I think you're going to have a hard time getting a consensus of saying we're going to give everything to one show. I honestly don't think, And here's one of the problems you have. Of those 6 nominations, a couple of those categories, you have two people from the same show up for that nomination, which, as everybody knows, whenever stuff like this, when you have 2 people in the same category from the same item, they kind of cancel each other out sometimes. So I don't think you're going to get a big winner. I think you're going to get a nice little filtering around and maybe an upset or 2 in there.
Brian, what are your thoughts?
Well, with the 2 shows that you mentioned, you have The Crown and you've mentioned Schitt's Creek. Schitt's Creek was a big winner last season. This is their final season, so it's their go-away swan song of trying to win stuff. But the also thing you need to keep in mind is this is the Hollywood foreign press.
Correct.
There's something that you got to know about the foreign press is they love shit about themselves. So The Crown, although I'm sure it's wonderfully acted, it's something that, being an Irish Catholic, I never was interested in the English monarchy. Just call me, we were a little bit oppressed by this kind of thing. So watching to see like who backstabbed who and who's got Alzheimer's and who's got if I want to hear of some royal tawdry, crown kind of thing going on, I'll watch Game of Thrones. Thank you very much, because there they have dragons.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to get burned.
So if we're going to go into the awards ceremony part of it, though, I think The Crown might come out ahead of Schitt's Creek on this one. I love Schitt's Creek. I think they are just brilliant at it. It's this very quirky yet encompassing comedy that I think they will do good. But they're both in 2 different categories. One is under the musical comedy category, which Golden Globes separated already. Make it just musicals and make it comedies. It's stupid. It's it's like saying it's an SUV that's a school bus. No,
it's a dessert topping that's also a floor wax.
Did we just go SNL? Did we just go SNL there? Impressive.
The comedy category for the acting and for just the shows and stuff, they always get short shifted, thinking like, it's a musical, it's a comedy, it's the same thing. No, it's not. So I could see The Crown winning the Best Drama Series award. Although my heart would say, The Mandalorian, but we all know that it's not the greatest drama.
No.
And as
one
far
of the best produced shows, but not the best drama.
The only thing that could run in an interference with Schitt's Creek in the Comedy Series Awards would be Emily in Paris, because, once again, it's a European-based show, and this is the foreign press, so they may go that way.
Great points about the foreign press. I almost forgot about that. And I think the thing that holds back The Crown, if you look at one category, Best Actor in a TV Drama, Josh O'Connor from The Crown has to battle Jason Bateman in Ozark. Al Pacino
who's won before.
Right. Al Pacino, who has been a multiple winner in other categories. Bob Odenkirk, Better Call Saul.
Oh, one of my favorite shows.
Which is a great show.
Yeah.
And then Matthew Rhys, who I saw on Perry Mason, did a great job. Okay. So, I mean, you look at that category right there, I'm going clean sweep. No, I don't think O'Connor's going to win here. So right there, take the clean sweep out of the equation.
Yeah, I don't think so either. And quite frankly, and I hate to put it this way, because this is going to really sound, ridiculous. I didn't think Al Pacino should have been nominated in this. I watched Hunters.
Really?
I enjoyed the series, but I didn't see. I saw Al Pacino doing an Al Pacino. I didn't see a character in the show. So to me, it was a rehashing of a lot of other characters I've seen him do before.
Right.
There were other people in the show I absolutely loved, but I was not thrilled with what I saw from Al Pacino. So I don't think he'll win that one. I think Jason Bateman is perhaps. I think he won last year, maybe the last couple of years.
Oh, he's definitely won.
My heart goes to Bob Odenkirk, because I'd love to see him win for Better Call Saul, because that body of work is just, to me, has been so good that I would prefer to see that. And if you talk about the other category, the leading actress, Emma Corrin is nominated for playing Princess Di. It's an interesting part. She does it well. The only problem is this: whenever you see her in this series, there's too many shots of this. Where she turns and she just gives this longing look where her head is down, and it's like, once or twice was fine, but not 3 times in every episode.
So it's more of a crutch, you think, at this point.
It became a bit of this was her look, and let's come back to it over and over again. And it really, at one point, I mean, as much as I was enjoying her performance, I'm like, enough already. I don't want to see you do it anymore.
Right.
I'm tired of seeing it.
I think we all agree, as sentimentally, as we were saying, we all like to see Schitt's Creek go out and win all 5 if it can, because, again, brilliant show. This is your last chance to do it. But, again, the foreign press has always some surprises, which segues beautifully into the second quarter of all this, because any of these award shows, there's always a surprise or an upset that seems to pop up in these things. If you had to look into your crystal ball, guys, and look into the Golden Globes next week, if there was going to be a surprise or an upset, where would you see it? Brian, I'll start with you.
Oh, God. Surprise and upset? I don't know. I would say that if under the best television motion picture, everybody's probably thinking that it might be Queen's Gambit, because everybody was like, Queen's Gambit.
That was one of the most talked about shows.
Phenomenal
of the year, no
show.
question. Yeah,
phenomenal show.
No question.
Right. But I can almost see it being unorthodox. Just because, once again, this is the foreign press, and I'm thinking that may come in and take that, but you never know. Most likely Queen's Gambit could be an upset. I think Garofalo wins Best Actor, because if you saw, I know this much is true, he plays 2 characters, himself and his brother.
Mm-hmm.
And
I was thinking that.
Physically, there is a physical difference, and they even filmed it at 2 different time periods to get that physical difference. If he doesn't get it, I think that's be an upset, personally. I mean, I know Ethan Hawke did a great job in The Good Lord Bird. Bryan Cranston is beloved by the foreign press.
Very much so, yeah.
Jeff Daniels is always a great actor to pull one out. Hugh Grant, I think the foreign press is done with Hugh Grant. And I think Hugh Grant is done with the foreign press as well. So,
is Hugh Grant done with Hugh Grant?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, he has a very different look in this film.
This is true.
So maybe he is done with himself.
Maybe.
Right.
I'm going to go way off the board with where I think there's going to be an upset.
Oh, I have no problem with you going way off the board, sir.
I'm actually going to go to the best screenplay of a motion picture.
Okay.
Now, I think a lot of people are figuring that either Jack Fincher for Mank is going to win, or the traditional favorite here would be Aaron Sorkin for The Trial of Chicago 7. While both of those are wonderful, and I enjoyed both of them, I actually think Emerald Fennell for Promising Young Woman is going to get it for a lot of reasons. It's the picture itself has gotten a lot of press. It's gotten a lot of attention, and it's a story about female empowerment. And I think that may bring it to, up to more of a forefront for a lot of these folks. So that's where I'm looking at as far as an upset is concerned. Now, you may not consider an upset. I think I do, because I see Aaron Sorkin's name in there, and that's the one that everybody's eyes are going to gravitate to.
And it's funny, Sorkin is a 9-time nominee now. And I had 2 things written down. I had written down Sorkin, and he's nominated in 2 categories, for director and screenplay. One of my 2 surprises is going to be, 1, he gets shut out. He doesn't win on either one. Where I see Regina King winning for Best Director in One Night in Miami, and I look at the screenplay, I'm looking at The Father. I think that's a sleeper. Okay. I mean, I think it's one of those films that the plot really reflects true-to-life situations where you're seeing somebody in your family who's starting to lose it. So I think it plays to that, true-to-life thing, and I think it will connect with people. On the other side, I had to go music. Original score. Because, and Brian will vouch for me on this, Trent Reznor, the god of 9 Inch Nails that he is, has made one of the most amazing transitions from being industrial rock to suddenly being Mr. Soundtrack, Mr. Score. He's got the rare. He's nominated twice in the same category. So, I mean, if he were to lose,
that's 40%.
Yeah, exactly. I'd be like, you lost yourself. You can. I mean, no. I mean, he's got a category.
Him winning that event would be like the advertisement for FanDuel. If Trent Reznor wins, bet $1 on him and win $100 back.
Right.
Yeah, pretty much.
And that's the funny thing. I've noticed that with the betting sites. This is where it gets interesting now with the betting sites, because you can go to some of these betting sites and you literally go, oh, wait a minute. This is a 12-1 bet on this one. Wait a minute. It does make it more interesting because you could lose your shirt, but that's another story.
Do I have a shirt?
You got one right here.
I have 2 on, actually. Well, I'm sporting the look, you know.
There you go.
It's the layered look. It looks good on camera. Give me a break, will you? I learned this from Brian over here.
Look,
he's got it.
Yeah, he's got the layered look. I'm the one that just decided to go with the Mets shirt just to channel my team. By the way, we're at halftime, so everybody relax for a second.
We're at halftime already.
We're going quick.
Is there no stoppage in play here?
Time at 11:15. What is it?
What are we playing?
I know. We didn't even. This wouldn't even be one quarter of hockey. I know.
No, one quarter of hockey.
One period.
Yeah, he just proved how little hockey he's been to in his life.
Here's the reason, folks. It's 11 a.m. and we're talking about movies about an award show a week later. Come on.
By the way, you can get more of that on the O'Halloran. That would be Figure 6 Ming, if you can pull that up so we can plug Brian's podcast, which, by the way, is now in its second season. He's had some great guests ranging from Van Zandt, the great writer, to some of his castmates in a movie that he was in. He's had many of the View Askew people part of there. And now,
he had me, too.
And he had you. He's had me.
He had you.
He had me. I still wonder why he had me, but I'm glad he did. It was a lot of fun. And you got a lot of good stuff coming this second season, do you not, sir?
Yes, I do have a bunch of people I'm in talks with to come on out and be part of it. I had my first in-studio guest this past Friday, which was the lovely Diana Devlin. So it was a nice surprise guest for both the audience and for her. So
I'm glad to see she was prepared.
But she was a wonderful guest. If you want to catch the episode, you can find it on Twitch, YouTube, and the O'Halloran Facebook page as well.
And something else you've been doing, some of these virtual cons you've been involved in. You just did something, number 4, please, Ming. This was going on recently through Wizard World, and this is something that's also carrying on till next week. If you can give a little plug for that.
Sure. So we've the good folks at Wizard Entertainment has got myself, Jeff Anderson, Marilyn Gigliotti, Scott Schiaffo together to do a virtual event. Now, yesterday was the Q&A with myself, Marilyn Gigliotti, and Scott Schiaffo. We were happily surprised by our boss, so to speak, and Jay and Silent Bob themselves, Kevin Smith and Jason Muse. So now what happens is all this week, you will be able to see, you'll be able to go to wizardworldvirtual.com and order some 8x10s autographed, or order your own one-on-one virtual chat with ourselves, which the orders have to be in by Friday. So that's Saturday of next week. We'll have the one-on-ones, plus also virtual photo ops. They'll digitally put us together, I don't know, on the grassy knoll. Who knows? But anyway, you can get that as well, or recorded message similar to what Cameo does. So check it out. Jeff is involved in that as well. He couldn't be involved in the Q&A, but he can give you live one-on-one chats next week. So check it out, Wizard World Virtual, or you can go to my social medias, and I have all the advertisements on there.
Hey, B, anything on the latest on Clerks 3 at this point, or is it still just kind of because of the pandemic? He's still Kevin's still writing, and there's really no time frame at this point.
It's right here.
Beautiful.
Right now, he had mentioned this yesterday on the free Q&A, which you can go and watch as well on the Wizard World platforms.
There you go.
Where hopefully the funding will start coming in. Once again, COVID protocols. If we see if they can be, if we get beyond this, that we can get people filming. I know he wants to shoot at the actual store in New Jersey and locations, various other locations that are in the film in New Jersey. So we shall see. He's sent me the second draft of this new version of the script. It's awesome. It runs the gamut of emotions. A lot of View Askew alumni are back, yet at the same time, it's an incredibly intimate film like the original, and it's full of jokes, and it's got a lot of heart, and I think the fans will enjoy it. So hopefully we can get that going, hopefully shooting it in Jersey at the actual store, and we'll see what happens then. In the meantime, folks, tomorrow, Kevin's store has moved its location in Red Bank. The new Jay and Silent Bob Secret Stash has a soft open tomorrow at 10 a.m. Go check it out. See Mike. I think Ming's going to be there. I heard that Mike's giving away 100 sandwiches, chicken sandwiches.
I love that.
Ming's over here giving the thumbs up. He'll be there.
Nice.
Yeah. So, and I'll probably pop my head in there tomorrow as well.
Look forward to that. So if you're around the area, definitely stop in the new Jay and Silent Bob Secret Stash in Red Bank. Yeah. You, sir.
What about
Bob
me?
Senkewicz.
That's me.
All right. You've done the work on the Pokemon movies, but you got another project that has been available on Amazon Prime, number 5 there, Ming. Tell us about this. Naughty Nuts.
Oh, dear Lord. Naughty Nuts is a project I got looped into through the one of the gentlemen that I did a lot of voiceover work with. It's a cartoon right now. It's available on Amazon Prime.
Yep.
And I have probably a half a dozen different voices in it. I think there's like 25 or 26 episodes, and I'm like the bad guy or the wacky guy in about a half a dozen of them. And I start showing up somewhere around episode 15 or 16, and I'm everything from a Pokemon card stealer to a pseudo Arnold Schwarzenegger drill sergeant. And the nice thing is the guy that I work with who does the sound engineering for this comes to me and he said, we walk into this I could walk into a studio.
Right.
You walk into the studio and he says, I got you. I want to use you for stuff. So he books me for the time. I show up and we talk about the character. He shows me the image of what it is, and he says, let's come up with something. So I don't have anything planned. It's figure a voice out while you're there when you see it, and you play with it a little bit. This works, that doesn't work. And the nice thing is the gentleman I work with has been very happy with usually my first take.
Right.
And then it's go crazy and do whatever you like. Some of these cartoons, you get a chance to, you're having to read, they've already animated, and you're having to redub what they put. Some of them you work in there and it's, okay, here's the dialogue. Go ahead and make it your own.
Right.
Those are more fun, though they take longer, because when you do those, you wind up doing like 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 different angles at how to get something done, and then they'll pick the best one that they want for where they're going. The ones that are already animated and you got to come back and you got to redo, you may take a couple of different shots at it, but you're trying to fit this little window of when the flaps of the voice of the cartoon are going, which Brian, I'm sure, is well aware of how this stuff all works.
Yeah, absolutely. Having done the Clerks cartoon series in his own right. Yeah,
so there's that one. There's another one called Robot Trains that I'm in. That one we did is one where we did my voice and then they animated to me, which is actually pretty cool to see my voice animated on a little train. It's very with a mustache at that. I'm like, wow, that's interesting. Okay,
is that your favorite? Because I thought maybe doing the Schwarzenegger drill sergeant would have been a fave.
Doing it, my favorite was the Pokemon card stealer. It's not Pokemon; it was a different card game that they.
But
they
still, in reference to some of your work with Pokemon,
but
it makes sense.
Looking at it, and when I see it afterwards, watching my voice come out in an animated voice out of a train, looking at it, that was my favorite afterwards. Doing it, the other guy was my favorite. I guess one of the other voices I'm in Naughty Nuts is I'm this pizza guy. Think Spaceballs, where you had Pizza the Hut. There's like this pizza guy who is like the Don of pizza in this town, and it's crazy stuff. So it's that's those are the ones I enjoyed. Cool. And a little of this, a little of that, and
yeah. Find Naughty Nuts on Amazon Prime. You're not going to be disappointed. Good stuff.
Yep.
Since we're in halftime, my plug coming up on Wednesday night on the A Game. That will be at 7:00 for Pacific. We are going down to Dudleyville with the 20-time tag team champion and WWE Hall of Famer Bully Ray, who's got a great show now on Sirius XM. He's talking wrestling. He's talking all avenues, whether it be WWE, AEW, Impact Wrestling, all of it. So we're going to get into that and how he literally got sidetracked into Sirius XM. I mean, it was not a planned thing. So it's a really cool story. Look forward to that. And then after that, we're going to have March 2nd. That'll be at 6:00, 3 Eastern. We're going back to the Real World, who are having a 30th anniversary reunion. The original cast from New York, Eric Nees, who was a part of that interesting cast. Eric's going to reminisce about that. He's a Jersey guy. He's got some great stories. Was on MTV for a long time. He's doing Club MTV as the main host there. So some good stuff coming down the pike. So follow on Facebook, follow on YouTube, and you'll be thoroughly entertained by all of us in one way, shape, or form. Trust me on that. With that in mind, we can dive into the third quarter. We had a very long intermission. I think the intermission was long.
This is kind of like the NFL Super Bowl halftime
There you
show.
go, because the intermission was longer than the first 2 quarters. Go figure. Third quarter. Ming, I want you to give me photo 3 first. This is going to be the focus. This is Hamilton. Now, interesting story about Hamilton. Has been nominated for the Golden Globes, But we also found out that it's not being nominated for an Academy Award. Now, man, give me image number 2, because it explains, citing Rule 2, Section G of the 93rd Academy Award rules, which takes pandemic-mandated movie theater closure into account and states that the committee will evaluate all matters and rules and eligibility. Its members have determined that Hamilton does not qualify, as the Hollywood Reporter reported within this month. Now, interestingly to note, the SAG Awards will nominate Hamilton, but as a TV movie, not as a motion picture. Now, when it comes to the Golden Globes, does this give a major advantage to Hamilton to win, let's say, Best Motion Picture in a Musical Comedy, and Lin-Manuel Miranda to win for Best Actor? What do you think, Bob?
Well, I watched it. I enjoyed it.
Okay.
I had a problem with it personally, just because of the density and the pace at which the piece is done. I marveled at it. I thought it was an amazing piece to begin with. I think it's got a leg up on everybody else. I have a hard time seeing them not give it to him. I think there's a justification with the way the Academy Awards are set up that it's not included, just because of the format and where it got to. I think it's going to be hard for anything else that's on this list of what's been nominated to knock it off. And I realize that may be the most boring answer I ever had. But I can't. I mean, I could see them going for Borat just because Borat is European.
And it so happens he's nominated for a couple of things.
Yes.
Sacha Baron Cohen is also nominated for the Chicago 7.
Yeah. But I'm sorry to not have anything more entertaining to say about this one. To me, it's like, it's Hamilton, okay. And honestly, if I said anything other than Hamilton would win this, my daughter would probably kill me when I got home.
There's your entertainment part of it.
Yes.
There you go.
Okay, there you go. Because my daughter literally was one of those folks that went to the theater outside and tried to win tickets when they used to have the raffle outside the theater while the play was running. And she's absolutely gaga over the show, justifiably. But she tried a number of times to get tickets and never got the opportunity.
Brian, I know you're a big theater guy as well, so what is your take on all this?
Well, this goes to my original point earlier in the broadcast about how comedies and musicals should be separated. You know, you got Palm Springs, which is a comedy, you got Borat, which is a comedy, and then you have these 3 musicals, Prom, Music, and Hamilton, and they just should be separated. That being said, the rule with the Academy Awards, to make it that it had to be in a theater, and yes, they took into pandemic. Personally, it should be just a simple rule. When was it available to the general public in any format it came in, be it on television screens, in movie theaters, flip book? I don't care. It should qualify. It should be just a time spot, like from March of such and such of this year to March of such and such, whatever comes out at that time, produced by a studio or whoever. It should be qualified.
Unless it shows up on Quibi, because then we don't care.
I mean, why not? The same amount of effort goes into an hour and a half long movie on Quibi. Although those were 7-minute things, but. That's now gone, and one of the biggest financial losses of investors ever.
Hence the humor behind the comment.
The comment,
there was my humor that I went for.
Right, but I mean, let's say Hulu. Let's say all these other outlets. They should qualify under the Academy rules. Now,
I think this is the fourth quarter that we're breaking into.
Well, we're kind of breaking into it, and I don't mind that because I think this is a very important point that Brian's bringing out that I wanted to bring out, that we've reached a point where if we are going to watch movies more on the lines of on Netflix, on Hulu, and let's go even before that, HBO, Showtime. We've seen some great original films come through these networks, but they've been considered television movies. And I've always had a problem with that because I always felt like you have such an unfair advantage being that you have this platform that's different than network television. You can get away with more. You can dive into bigger plots. You can use certain language. I really think that if you're paying for that service, then why isn't it the same as paying for it in the movie theater? Why is it not qualify for an Oscar?
Take your Cable Ace Award and walk out of the room. That's what
Yeah, there's an award show that lasted long, didn't it?
Yes, it did.
Wow.
Are we segueing to review that now?
On the Cable Ace Awards? I don't think I think we just half the audience say, "What's a Cable Ace Award?"
Oh God.
Google it, people. It's right next to what's a VHS tape. As far as Best Actor, there's more of a competition there because Sacha Baron Cohen, but he's playing Borat, so you know he's doing it's right in his original wheelhouse. Lin-Manuel Miranda wrote this part for himself, performed this on Broadway.
Actually, he didn't write the part for himself. He wrote one of the other parts for himself and wound up doing and he wound up being Hamilton. And this is according to my daughter. How she tells because she's the aficionado in my house.
Okay, we won't argue.
Yeah.
Hey, Rob, can you call Bob's daughter and have her come pick up Bob and she can sit at this table?
She might be more entertaining.
Conceivable.
She might be more entertaining.
Bob can all his research from his daughter. And I think Dev Patel is in the running for this.
Yes,
award.
he is. And a very underrated actor, by the way, too.
That might be an upset in that category. James Corden, I highly doubt it. And Adam Sandberg, I highly doubt it as well. Not because they're not talented people. It just in that category, I don't think that's a thing.
Well, we're kind of segueing into the fourth quarter with some of the things that we're talking about. We can make this sort of a general statement as COVID has changed everything. And it has in so many levels, and especially in the movie industry, as far as filming, as far as how you watch your films. The idea of going to a movie theater. So with the way things are changing, what changes could we see in the future for the industry, let's say? We'll keep it kind of open-based. Bri, I mean, I'm sure you have some thoughts as far as that goes. Whether it's the awards, the industry, any of it.
Yeah, I mean, as far as making films, protocols have been put in place through the agreements, through the Producers Guild, the Writers Guild, SAG-AFTRA, and this is for union films. I'm not talking in the world of independent films where, you know, if you want to get a SAG signatory label on your thing, you still have to follow these protocols as well. I've seen people go through it. I was part of a pilot during this COVID time, and protocols there was a lot of paperwork. There's a lot of, I had to go get a COVID test to make sure I was negative. And then within 2 or 3 days, then you could start filming, that kind of thing. So as far as the making it, I think they've gotten their shit together, so to speak. As far as watching it, so many people stuck at home during this whole year of being stuck at home had done a lot of improvements of their own home, thinking like, man, I do have a tiny 50-inch TV. I need a 70-inch TV because I want to be able to zoom on my TV and see it in all its glory or whatever. You know, people who signed up to watch streaming services jumped incredibly, and things like that. So the comfortable feeling of sitting at home, watching it on these great giant TVs is still, I think, going to continue. It's going to take a while for people to get into theaters to watch things that are exclusive in theaters. Now, granted, anything from the Marvel universe, Star Wars universe, any remake of the Harry Potters, anything of that caliber, still going to get people to go in, especially young people, because I can't get the Rona, right, Ma? All right, I'm good. You know, so that's going to happen. Plus, kids need a place to go to mess around without their parents seeing, and parents need a place to go to get away from the screaming kid at home and leave it with a babysitter. So I think that's eventually going to come back. I think it's going to be like anything in the travel and entertainment business. It's going to take about a year after we're all good with shots and stuff. Like, there's still going to be people like, all right, I got my shot and all, and I know they're taking protocols, but I'm going to wait and see what does the mingling goes. I mean, right now, the big petri dish of testing is Florida. Let's all call it as it is. Florida, I'm looking at you. You know, you just do what you want. Whatevs.
Well, that's because it's warm down there.
You know, you all get on your boats. You're tossing the Lombardi trophy back and forth from boat to boat. Y'all are crazy. Y'all are crazy down in Florida. So you see where it goes with Florida. And then we go from there. Because if, you know, where Florida goes, so does
virus follows.
Brian, I want to take one tangent with this because you're very involved before the pandemic in the Comic-Con universe. You've been sort of a semi-regular on the circuit. So where do you see, if you could predict the timeline of when we're going to see the live cons come back? And do you still see this as maybe a year from now, maybe longer, maybe shorter? Where do you see?
Me goofing on Florida, actually. I do have a one-day appearance in Florida next month.
Okay.
Right? I'm not gonna lie. And it's
somebody's got to bring the virus back. That's all I know.
A big pavilion kind of location. Everybody's going to be spaced out like crazy distance. And I don't mean on drugs. I mean the actual physical distance. They'll be spaced out.
Right.
So they're coming back like literally 2020 was like going to be an epic year. Jeff Anderson had agreed to go on the road with me.
Exactly. Yeah.
A whole bunch of us were going to be traveling. And then we all got kicked in the COVID nuts. And so then now they're rebooking things. And I last night was just on email back and forth with my agency and my agents. And we're rebooking things and stuff. And right now that's the first one. And then come April, there's like one or two more that are going to attempt this. A lot of them have pushed themselves to June onward, like, because we're hearing from the state authorities and federal authorities that there should be enough for at least the first round of your first shot to everybody in their arms by June. There are doctors saying, well, we won't be fully inoculated till December and stuff like that. And it's still, once again, going to be a personal choice whether you want to take that risk.
Of course, and
be out there. Now, look, con attendees are awesome. They're great. Not usually the most hygienic. Just gonna say, especially if you're one of those video gamers and you're in that video game room that's 72 hours that the con is in town, where you have hot machines running all night, and you're sitting there on a Fortnite frenzy, drinking your monster drinks and like, yeah, I'm going to own you. Never leave that room. So
I had one of the, pardon me, I'm just going to cut it since you brought this up. Mm-hmm. I am an avid role player. I've been playing Dungeons and Dragons since I was in my early teens. Mm-hmm. All right. I had some friends who convinced me over and over again. They said, you got to go to the cons. You got to go to this is where all this stuff is happening. Mm-hmm. And I was like, you know what? I got my own game. I'm cool with this. And then finally there was one con that was happening maybe 10 minutes from my house. Okay. And I was like, and friends of mine were going to be there. I was like, I got to go. I got to see what this is. I got to experience it.
Right.
And I walked in the door and it was like I was hit with a wall. And it was this aroma of everyone's body chemistry just mingling together. And I stayed there for about an hour, met the friends I was there to do, walked down like the little vendor aisle to see what I could sell. And I says, you know what, guys, I've had enough. I'm done. Mm-hmm. So not the most hygienic. No.
But I mean, now most of these cons are going to spread their guests out. They're going to spread vendors out. It's not going to be as jam-packed anymore as some of these aisles are for these cons. So you're going to see a lot of that. There's going to be a lot of paring down, not as many guests, celebrity guests and comic artists and stuff like that, and vendors. They're going to space it out in the beginning. It's going to take a year or so. It won't be like normal, like where we could do anything we want in, like, I think 2023. To be honest,
you're not going to flip the switch. It's going to have to ramp.
Yeah, and they're going to have limited capacity too. It's going to be the same thing.
No, it's probably 25% capacity of most. If it's a 5,000 capacity room, now you're sitting there going, okay, now we're going to talk about 1,000, 1,250 maybe. So
that brings me to a question. Do you think that's going to change the financial aspect of those cons? Because you're going to have fewer people coming in.
Yeah.
That's what I was just about to bring up, is that people don't realize how much logistics are involved in putting these things together, and just how much the local economies of these towns and cities really get a huge boost when conventions like this come in. So hotels are going to have less people coming in from out of town. You're going to have less people going to your local restaurants and stuff like that. So the economy, the budgeting, that's why you're going to see it. If they know that you're only going to be allowed to bring in 50% capacity, what you normally were, you're going to have matrices of knowing where your financials are going to be. Then you go, all right, well, then we can only budget this much to bring in guests and put up people in hotel rooms and stuff like that.
Is it going to make them charge twice as much for the ticket to get in? Is it going to charge,
that's all balanced on, does the convention center give them a less of a break since they're not physically, bringing in more people So obviously, yes, the building is worth such and such on let's say 100,000 to rent this building. That's not a number. I'm just saying, but and they will stick to that number. It's just silly. It wouldn't work, and people wouldn't be able to book it because they're like, how can you charge?
You can't make money on it.
Right.
Yeah,
everybody's going to have to make some concessions along the way, from the venue to the, like, I would even think, Brian, just because I know the level of people who come on these cons, they can range from, a theme where it's like, here's the Clerks crew. They're coming in town. They're doing it. But you've seen some bigger names come in to these con worlds, but they're also getting astronomical money. So they're going to have to make some adjustments as well. So if everybody plays the game properly, it could work very well, but everybody has to be realistic is the best way of putting it.
Yeah, because the same thing is just like restaurant owners who are renting from their landlords, and they're like, look, man, I have 25% capacity and you're asking me for 100% of my rent. We gotta come to some deal here. You're gonna have the storefront here empty for the next 6 months, trying to find another guy trying to rent an already built out restaurant or what have you. So, and this is a lot of things that go involved with the COVID rescue package up in Washington, that to see that these industries that are affected can get some sort of, zero interest loans or some sort of grant money or something of that nature. And it's all involved. It's all involved. And so it's going to be tough. It's definitely going to be tough. I mean, people, and no matter what, people still need to be at home to watch entertaining things. So making television, making movies, the studios are starting to scramble. They're starting to go like, all right, we need to get some product out.
See, now on that topic, I think, coming back to where we were talking about the change of the way things are going, I honestly think that the Academy is going to have to change the way they view material. And the Emmy Awards are going to have to change the way they're looking at what they're doing. And there's got to be, and that's really, it's the boundaries of who's an Emmy, who's an Oscar.
Yes.
And yes, up till now, things like Showtime and HBO and whatever have fallen under the Emmy category because they're television. Mm-hmm. So does that then draw the line and say, if you're on a pay service that is carried by like an HBO or a Showtime, does that leave you in the Emmy category? Mm-hmm. And then Netflix and Amazon and Hulu throw you over to the Oscar category? This is going to be one of those, because then you get a lot of what are considered traditional television series that are on those other services. Where do you draw the line? And
that's it. But there's the line right there. If you have multiple episodes, you're a television series.
Well, and that's
you're a one-shot movie, an hour and a half, 2 hours. You're a movie.
That may be the way between the Emmys and the Oscars. They have to negotiate the lines as to what's what. And because, to me, the idea that something that shows up on Netflix or Amazon or HBO that's a film, a 2-hour movie,
right,
that it doesn't qualify for an Oscar is insane, because like what Brian was saying before, is the level of production, especially today, is the same, and in some cases it's even better.
Right. And again, like I was saying before, unfair advantage.
True.
It gives them a major advantage.
I'm going to say this one as from an artist's perspective. The movies that something like Netflix or Hulu or Amazon will take a chance on are far more creative and out of the mainstream than you will get from a movie studio to put into a theater. So to me, it's better if they include those films, because you're going to get a more interesting and wider variety of those projects that are available for the Oscars, that are actually, in my mind, more relatable to the average viewer, because it's coming into their home, and it's something that they're going to see, and it's probably, like, for argument's sake, last year Marriage Story was nominated. If that's the kind of thing, it didn't go in the movie theaters. It was on Amazon, Netflix. I forget which one it was on. That took a lot of effort for that to get into anybody's lists, but it shouldn't. It's something that it's more identifiable, and would have been a hard item to sell to get into a movie theater.
So this is a question that just came to me as I'm listening to both of you. Does this open the door for more independent projects than ever before? And will it create potentially more jobs, more opportunities, even with COVID involved? Because if you look at it with all the streaming services and with everything that is so limited and based by, let's say, a network or even on a cable, where all of a sudden you're doing an independent show. It could be picked up by a streaming service. It could be a Netflix. It could be an Amazon Prime. It could be a Hulu. So does that maybe create more opportunities for the independent filmmaker, the independent TV person who has got a creative idea to maybe say, hey, I may actually have a venue to get this out there. We can even go to YouTube, who actually took a chance on Cobra Kai and it turned into a phenomenon beyond phenomenon.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Brian, you know better than probably all three of us here because you've done, like you said, you've done a pilot, you've done these things. Do you see that as sort of the new wave of the future, more independent television series?
Well, yeah, that's happening whether the COVID was happening or not. Just because the cost to make independent stuff has come down dramatically, the cost of cameras, the cost of getting a crew, editing software, and then outlets to put it up, like a YouTube, like, Vimeo or what have you.
Another one, Vimeo.
Yeah. So those type of things, it's not about getting them done. Making product is gotten to a level now that, and Kevin says this all the time, just do it, just make it. You can make it on your phone. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
exactly.
Now there's, the new Samsungs are like 8K,
Yeah. Oh, they're ridiculous.
24p, like amazing type of stuff. You have CJ on the thread here. He'll tell you like kids are making films on just phones with such great quality, and as long as you have a great sound, you have great miking. I always tell people to don't chintz out on their sound when making these films, because there's nothing that takes me out of a film than hearing bad sound. But getting it done and then getting it up, just get it up. Put it on your YouTube channel, just like, Fleabag and all these other type of shows that went on and did their own type of thing and then get picked up, like you said, for Netflix or Hulu or for Amazon. So yes, that is going on whether their COVID was here or not.
Can you imagine if you had the technology when you guys were right around with Clerks? Could you have seen the film being done so differently? Or I've seen your reaction here. I mean, God.
And first of all, we'd be able to shoot in color because you'd be able
right there you go.
We'd be able to correct the green. You'd be able to put that filter in the post-production with the problem. Right. And yeah, I mean, it literally would just be like 3 people again, like perfectly doing it. And we probably would have shot it in a weekend as opposed to 23 something days waiting for dailies. And then he'd have it, knowing how Kevin edits, he would have had it edited in like the weekend. And we probably would have had we wouldn't have had to go to the award ceremony, go to Sundance. We just would have went, all right, we're going to put this up, and then it would have been picked up. And so I'm not saying you kids today have it so easy, God damn it. But
they do have just more technology and more avenues.
True, but that also breeds more competition. So it's all relevant.
It makes you have to do something better and more creative, which is kind of what I came back to saying. It's going to generate more creativity because outlets like Hulu and Netflix and Amazon are looking for content. Right. And that's the big challenge between them, and they're always looking for what's going to be the next Stranger Things.
Well, yeah, and let me defend your point a little bit too in the cartoon world, because the cartoon you're involved in is definitely out there.
It's out there. It's out there.
And you sit there and say, could this cartoon have existed even 10 years ago?
It would not have, unless it found an avenue, for argument's sake, on Cartoon Network or something like that.
Which would have been Adult Swim, and that would have been a tough piece anyhow, because there's not a lot of cartoons that were going on Adult Swim.
Correct.
Well, you're talking about their part of a broadcast timeline. You know what I mean? So there's only so many slots in a day for and specifically Adult Swim is literally like 10 o'clock till 2 a.m. or whatever have you. So you're having all these like, I'm edgy, I should be on Adult Swim. Like, when Clerks, the cartoon series, was dropped by ABC, everybody's like, you guys should have went to Cartoon Network. Like, yeah, but Cartoon Network didn't have really the Adult Swim thing going on back then, but also our production costs were a lot more than shows. Like even South Park was like $50,000 an episode, and we were like $250,000 an episode. It was ridiculous.
Whoa, I didn't realize that. Wow.
Yeah, now we could do it a lot cheaper. once again, the technology has made it cheaper. And that's still something when I physically look so hideous that you don't want to see my face on camera. I'm hoping we can go back and cash the check and reboot that cartoon series.
I would like to see that. No, I thought you were onto something with that. The cartoon series was just hilarious. So I would love to see it come back. Yeah. Hey, great way to wrap up. I mean, it was a great conversation at the end. Getting a real good view of what is going on in the industry for sure. As we wrap up, once again, put up number 6 again for the Ohala rant. That is normally Friday nights, 9 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Pacific. If you're not subscribe to Brian's YouTube channel, you should do that. It is growing by leaps and bounds, and there's some great stuff coming down the pike very soon. And you can follow him right over here, Facebook, YouTube, and on Twitch, and be a part of the conversation. Brian always has a great rant to start out with, has a great guest, and it's worth your time. As both of us as former guests, we both had a blast.
Personally, I'd just like to point out on his logo there, the New York Ranger style jersey.
Come on now. Come on. He's loyal. He's loyal to his team.
Yes, he is.
Absolutely. Can't have it any other way.
Mm-hmm.
And Brian, all I can say is we look forward to seeing you do some more of the virtual stuff. And again, if you're around Red Bank, New Jersey tomorrow at the reboot of the new location of Jay and Silent Bob's Secret Stash, stop on in. Brian will be there. It'll be worth your time to get, what is it, a free chicken sandwich? Is that what it is, Ming? Is it a chicken sandwich? Do we know? No, we don't know. It's a free sandwich.
It's going to be something to eat, I guess. Something on a bun. Take your pick.
And let me have Image 5 one more time. Let me give it a plug. It's on Amazon Prime. This is Bob's work. It is Naughty Nuts. He does a lot of the characters on here. It is a trip and a half.
Oh, God. Every character is essentially based off of some form of a nut.
Yes. So, and it's hilarious. So definitely find out on Amazon Prime.
Not even going to touch it.
Too easy. It was too easy, Brian. We can't always give you a salt. We give them a lot of salt.
We can't. Balls. They all can't be difficult. Every now and then you got to have a fat pitch.
Yeah, exactly.
So speaking of the nuts, never mind.
Never mind. Brian, thanks for coming on, bud. I look forward to seeing you soon.
Thank you guys for having me on. And those who are going to be in the Secret Stash tomorrow, I'll probably be there around noon. See you then.
Very cool.
Enjoy, Chief.
Thanks for stopping by, bud.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's a wrap for the A Game. I'm Rob Acampora. Don't forget, I'm back on Wednesday night, 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 Pacific. We'll sit down with the legend from the WWE, Bully Ray. Yes, it's a trip to Dudleyville. It should be an interesting trip. So until then, hey, have yourself a great week ahead. Thanks for being a part of the Sunday morning with us. We appreciate it.